Hey guys, it's Nick. I'm here on Canal Street in Chinatown in New York City, and there are a lot of gold places around here, mostly more jewelry than bullion, but I wanted to take the time to answer some of the questions and comments from my last video about selling gold in the Diamond District in Manhattan. If you've seen the TV show Pawn Stars, you see how they always approach customers, and the first thing they say is, what do you want to do with it? You want to pawn it, you want to sell it, right? Then if they say they want to sell it, they say, how much are you looking to get out of it? And I always thought that is such a weird question. I guess the reason they say that is that in the hopes that somebody's going to ask a lot lower than they were willing to pay for them, and so they make some money on that, more than they normally would have, or the saying that the first person to name the price loses. So I always thought that was weird. And I had a friend who was a pawn shop owner in Queens in the early 2000s, and sometimes he would have me go sell some things to other shops or whatever. And the funny thing is, if I would go there, they would ask the same thing: what are you looking to get out of it? And I would always say, obviously, as much as I could possibly get. That's what I'm looking to get out of it. And they'd always say, well, what do you want? And I say, okay, I want $1 million. Obviously, it's not worth $1 million, and I'm not going to get that. And maybe they would like to pay $1 for it, or as little as possible, right? So I want as much as possible, and they want to pay as little as possible. That's just the way it is. That's human nature. And car dealers do that too. If you're trying to buy a used car off of them, they tell you it's worth all this money, but if you try to sell that same used car to them, they're going to point out all these flaws. Now, with gold and silver, you don't have the problem of ball tires or a check engine light or whatever. You either have a full ounce of gold or silver or whatever, so there's no question about the quality of it usually once they test it. Now it just comes down to the price. So how do you negotiate that? And to be fair, when I would sit with my friend in the pawn shop and people would come in, they would want crazy things for their items, right? They would want top dollar, and he would have to kind of talk them off the ledge. Otherwise, he couldn't buy it because a lot of people ask for too much. Now, this is more with jewelry and things like that, especially like a diamond ring. So it wasn't uncommon for somebody to come in with a diamond ring like that they bought for an engagement or marriage or whatever, and it was called off, or they got divorced or something like that, and the guy paid 8 or 10 grand at a Macy's or something like that for a nice diamond ring, and in reality that ring is really only worth maybe 2,000 or something like that, and they can't believe it because it was just a few months ago or something like that. So there is a part of having to talk people down and kind of temper their expectations, but that doesn't mean you should take the first offer that somebody gives you, especially if you kind of already know what the price should be. And that's kind of your job to kind of research that before you even go out to try to sell something. You can call around to other shops, you can maybe watch some YouTube videos of what other dealers are paying for stuff and things like that. But also you need to know the environment you are with premiums. Just like a year and a half ago, premiums on Silver Eagles were like $20 over the spot price, or about 80% premium. When the spot price was only 25, they were selling for 45. So in that case, if you were a seller, you would expect to get over the spot price. Now, right now, there's a lot of sellers out there, and so you would expect to get maybe the spot price, maybe a little bit over, maybe a little bit under. Same with gold. There's a lot more sellers in the US than there are buyers, it seems, or at least dollar-wise. And somebody made a comment when I said that there were 5-to-1 sellers, and they didn't agree, it seems. And what that means is there's not 10 people walking in to sell and 10 people walking in to buy equal amounts. No, what that means is you could have 2 guys come in selling 10 ounces of gold each. That's almost 50 grand. And then you could have 20 guys walk into the store only looking to buy $500 worth of silver. That's going to be what, 10 grand worth of silver purchases versus $50,000 worth of gold sells. And so that's a big discrepancy, and the dealers don't have unlimited cash to buy that stuff and sit on it. So they have to either blow it out to their wholesalers, or if they think they have demand in their shop, they can sell it for 1-2% over spot to try to get rid of it quicker than they would normally if they just had 1 or 2 items, and they could hold on to it for a bigger increase, like a 4% premium or something like that. So really know what the market is. Some things have higher premiums than others, like American Gold Eagles. In normal times, they sell for about a 7% premium, but now dealers are selling them for like 3% over spot, which means if they're selling it for 3% over spot, they're going to buy it at spot, or maybe even try to get it a little lower. So it kind of depends on the environment you're in, and it helps to know that what is the environment that you're in right now. So when I was looking to sell the Pamp Swiss, I was expecting to get maybe 2% under spot, because I saw other dealer videos where they were buying foreign gold coins for 2% on the spot, and coins beat bars in terms of popularity of what people want. So if dealers are buying coins for 2% on the spot, then I would expect that bars would be sold for at least 2% on the spot as well. So again, you have to shop around and kind of know what the environment is. Now, some people make the comment, well, you're paying 4 or 5% over spot to buy it, and you're maybe losing 2-3% on their spot to sell it. You're losing something like 7-8%. Is it even worth buying this stuff? And that was for gold, and it's even worse for silver in most cases. So in my opinion, yes, it's still worth to buy it, but have an eye towards that, hey, I'm only going to get maybe spot for this, or even less when I sell it. So don't pay too much over spot, right? And you say, well, that's easier said than done, because this dealer has it for 7% for an Eagle or whatever. I buy gold and silver like I buy bags of rice, right? Generic 10-pound bag or whatever, the cheapest you can get per pound. That's how you should buy gold and silver. Buy the biggest amount, and that means 1 ounce or more for gold, and in my mind 10 or ideally 100-ounce bars of silver, so that you get as close to spot as possible. Right now there's a lot of good deals on silver close to spot, even though the spot price is a lot higher than it was just a few months ago, so you have to keep that in mind. But for gold right now, just the other day, I think it was Sunday night, I saw APMEX was actually selling scratched gold 1 ounce Maple Leafs for actually spot price. So if I was in the market to buy gold right now, I would be buying those scratched Maple Leafs. I don't care that they scratched. When I sell them, I'm probably only going to get spot for them anyway, or maybe even a little under. So I would probably buy that, unless there was something a little bit better, maybe a not scratched random secondary market 1 ounce bar for $10 over or $20 over or something like that. But yeah, if you look for the deals, you can find them 1-2% over, depending on the market environment. Of course, right now the environment is such that dealers are looking to sell their excess gold for not too high premium, so look out for that kind of thing. Now, being worried about paying such a big buy premium and losing on the sell as well is something to really think about, because if you're losing 7-8% and you have a large amount of gold or silver that you're buying, that's a big amount of money. If it's 100 grand, you might be losing 7 grand of that buying and selling, right? Maybe in that case, buying physical is not right for you. A lot of people are against buying a gold or silver ETF, and that's their right. Everything has its place. Some people don't want to buy a gold or silver ETF because if you don't hold it, you don't own it. But then they're more than happy to go and buy these gold IRAs that you are not owning the physical possession of. You're paying a custodian to hold it for you, because you're not allowed to physically hold it in an IRA. That's the same thing as holding a gold ETF, right? They could default on the gold ETF, or the custodian of your gold IRA could take the money and run, or something like that. Who knows, right? So in my mind, they are very similar. And so buying and selling a gold ETF, the spread is very small, not even 1% or so. Buying and selling, it's probably more like 0.1% to buy it, the spread, and to sell it is probably very similar. So that's something to consider, especially if you're not really holding on for the end of the world kind of thing where you have to barter your gold for a cow or something like that. Because if that really happens, you're gonna have the hungry hordes from the city knocking down your door to to take your food and your gold and your silver and all of that. So if you're just like, hey, look, inflation's going up, I want to have a portion of my money in gold or silver or whatever, and I probably am only going to hold it for 2-3 years, and then I'm going to switch out into real estate, or I need the money or to fund my life in a few years, or I'm going to buy stocks, a gold or silver ETF could fit the bill for your purpose. Another comment a lot of people make is things like, oh, you shouldn't be selling your silver right now, or hey, you shouldn't be selling your gold right now, or hey, it's going to go higher tomorrow, why did you sell today, you're dumb, blah blah blah. Everybody's situation is different, and that's why you cannot give one size fits all advice or financial advice, especially to people, because everybody has a different level, everybody has different needs, everybody has different requirements today, tomorrow, a year from now, 5 years from now. So there will always be a time that somebody may need to sell or swap out or to buy more or whatever. There's always a reason. So don't get down on people for selling today or in a month or what they sold last year or something like that. Everybody's situation is different. And speaking of selling, a lot of people end up selling because they run into an emergency, and that is usually the worst time to sell because you are pressed for time or money or both, and you don't have time to shop around or find out where the best shop to sell is in advance. Just like if you are on the highway and your tire blows out on the side of the tire and you can't get it fixed and you have to buy a brand new one, you're gonna pay top dollar retail to get that tire fixed to get on your way. Whereas if your tires started to lose their tread and they're going bald, you have a few months to shop around and wait for some deals and check different websites and all of that to get the best deal for a new set of tires, right? You can't do that when you are in an emergency situation. And so what that means is have some cash around in a bank, in a T-bill or a money market or something like that for possible situations, not end of the world kind of stuff, but hey, if you need brakes on your car, if your water heater goes out or something like that, or you should always have some easy to get to money so that you don't have to sell some of your physical gold or silver before you intend to, because again, you see the spreads are big, buying and selling. You don't want to keep doing that. You want to kind of buy it once and hold it kind of long term until that time when you're either ready to cash it all out and live on that money or pass it on to your heirs or children or grandchildren or something like that. It's good to plan, but plans change, and I really like the saying, if you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans. So make your plans, but have some contingencies. And that's why I want to show these videos, because it is very easy to buy these things, but it is a lot harder to sell these things. And that's why you should have one or two go-to shops that you know that you can deal fairly with and get rid of gold or silver in a fast, efficient way, in the way that you want it. Maybe you only want cash, maybe you only want checks or Zelle or something like that. Know that beforehand before you go to sell your gold or silver in a rush. So that's why I recommend shopping around, selling a little bit of what you have, and see how that dealer acts with you. Do they try to lowball you from the beginning, or right off the bat without even asking, do they give you a decent price? If they do, then hey, I got this guy. You have them in your pocket, maybe have one as a backup in case the guy's closed or on vacation when you're ready to sell or something like that, or moved away, who knows. But have one or two shops that you know will give you decent prices, and that way when you are ready to sell, you don't have to scramble, you don't have to sell in an emergency or anything like that. You have everything already set up. And the thing is, if you can stick to one or two shops and you go there to buy your stuff constantly, you know they're gonna deal with you better when you go to sell with them as well. And some people asked about buying jewelry as an investment, I guess, or to sell jewelry. I don't recommend it because you're paying more than the gold is worth for the jewelry, obviously, because they have to make it and stuff like that. There's labor involved. So you're never going to get back anything close to what you paid for gold jewelry, so I would not do it. If you have gold jewelry and you want to sell it, if you have a decent amount of it, you could go to a refinery and have them melt it down and make a brick, and then they figure out what the carat is of that brick and then pay you out based on that. If you just have a few pieces, get it weighed, know how many grams it is, or penny weights. There's 20 penny weights in an ounce and 31.1 grams in a troy ounce, I believe. Know how many ounces your thing is, know what percentage it is. If it's 14 karat, it's 58%. But also know that those stamps are not really accurate. So if it says 14 karat, the dealer is going to assume it's probably more like 12 karat. And so that's why they're probably going to offer you even less than what the 14 karat would command on paper or theoretically. So guys, I hope I answered most of your questions and comments about my video about selling gold and precious metals. I hope you like this one, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.